What's up, everybody? Destin Laguerre here for IGN.com, and we just saw Dead Space 3 behind closed doors. I'm here with Steve. Steve, where did we find Isaac this time?
Well, Destin, what you're seeing in the demo today is a planet called Tau Volantis, and Isaac's kind of crash landed on it in the search for one of his friends.
Now, the big new feature everybody's talking about, and you guys are really talking about, is co-op. How does it work exactly?
So the way co-op works, and I want to make sure everybody knows this, is that it's drop in, drop out. It's totally optional, and what I mean by that is if people want to play single-player Dead Space like they've done in Dead Space 1 and Dead Space 2, you can still do that. There is no AI follower. You're just Isaac. Carver's not following you around as an AI. But if you choose to play with a friend, you could drop in at any point, and once you accept that invite at either a checkpoint or upon death or a checkpoint restart, Carver will appear in the game with you and you can start playing. And what happens is cutscenes will be modified, and you'll get some extra story details, and you'll even get a couple missions that you wouldn't normally get in single player. So it's almost like you're getting a whole nother experience.
Now, I was really curious as I was watching you guys play. What happens if Carver or Isaac dies? Is it game over?
So as you can imagine, if somebody gets dismembered, it's kind of hard to revive them. So if that happens, yeah, then you get the usual death game over screen, and then you start back up from the last checkpoint. There will be other forms of peril that don't necessarily dismember you, and if those occur, you'll be able to revive your friend.
What can you tell us about the new enemy type, the new humans that are pursuing you in this snowy level?
So they're a really interesting addition to the Dead Space universe. Unitologists have been in all of the games, but they've either been, dead and are being infected, or in Extraction, they were at the very beginning. This is the first time where the Unitologists are coming out in force, and they're coming after Isaac. I can't get into all the details because that would be going into spoiler town, where we don't want to go, but they're hot after Isaac. So what they've done now, like by adding them, what we've needed to do is rethink the game from the controller out, because what we didn't want to do is have enemies that were using projectiles, like guns, like these guys use, and have the game feel gimped, like Isaac can't combat these guys in the proper way. So we created this all new adaptive cover system that is not sticky, because we have melee enemies still. We don't want people stuck against a wall and not able to get away. So it's a really neat thing that the team came up with, which allows you to kind of lean around corners and things like that. We've also added a dodge and a roll. You can see in our boss fight, that's really critical. It's added a whole new dimension to the way we approach bosses and certain enemies. So we're having a lot of fun with that stuff.
Now, one thing I noticed is that enemies seem more alert, but you have a wide, like you can pick up a grenade and throw it back and it explodes. How will you be able to use roll and stuff like that to avoid?
Yeah, you can use any of the evasive maneuvers, the dive roll or just regular roll left or right, and you can also crouch. So let your mind kind of wander and think of all the different things you could get by using those things, and the extra levels of interesting setups and gameplays that the designers can put in.
At any point when Isaac and Carver are walking around together, can they go on completely separate paths?
You can kind of break away from each other to a limited degree. It's not like an MMO where you can be in like the other side of the world or something, but you can, within a zone or a set of zones, you can kind of get away from each other.
Okay, well, Dead Space 3 is looking great, and for more about Dead Space 3 or E3 2012, be sure to keep it locked on IGN.com.